We live? We live! We live! Welcome everyone to the Kick Black, where students are undergrad and graduate. It's a kickback. It's like kickback, but black, because it doesn't matter. This is a spot where students get together and just talk about the conference. This is day 2. So you met a couple of folks a couple days ago, but we've got a few more people on the crew. I'm gonna bring them in. So we got Dylan Williams, Alondra Galvin, and Leon Humphrey Jr. I'll let them reintroduce themselves or introduce themselves. So we'll start. We'll start with the lady because it was just me, Dylan, and Leon yesterday. And so Alondra, why don't you introduce yourself?
Of course. My name is Alondra Galvin. I am a current Master's of Public Health student with concentrations in epidemiology and biostatistics at Indiana University, Bloomington, and I am one of the current graduate assistants for the Neil Marshall Black Culture Center.
So wait, you're a public health?
Yes, I am.
So how do you feel looking at everybody just like not paying it? No one talking about it?
It's very interesting. Definitely. It's a little bit heartbreaking, but it's good. At least people know what my job is now. Prior to COVID, people every time that I would tell people that I wanted to be an epidemiologist, everyone would kind of ask, "Oh, a skin doctor?" But now people know what epidemiology is, so they no longer ask that. They're just like, "Well, what do you think about COVID?" But my focus is not COVID. Unfortunately, right now my focus is on enteric diseases. So, unfortunately, we still have other diseases in our country that we have to pay attention to. So while we have an amazing team taking care of COVID, there's the rest of our staff, in the state of Indiana and across the nation that are taking care of other diseases such as Hep A and E and everything in between.
All right. See, I like knowing doctors, people who know health, and then I can call them and be like, "Hey, did this? No, I shouldn't do this. I should do this." Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We're going to stick to the grad student and Leon Humphrey. Leon, introduce yourself. Tell people how you're doing.
Hello, everybody. I'm Leon. I'm a grad student at University of West Georgia. I'm currently getting my Master's of Education in College Student Affairs. So I'm glad to be here. Manny, thank you for killing it again, man. Thank you for leading us.
Of course. And we start with the man whose name is so nice. His Instagram says it thrice. D-Will. Dylan
yes,
Will. I'm always gonna mention that, Dylan. I'm always gonna mention that.
Yeah, like that's why I have the Instagram name. At times like this, but it's good, everybody. I am Dylan Williams. I am a senior, undergraduate, so I'm the young one technically. But I'm a senior here at UNC Wilmington, and I am a communication major and a journalism minor.
All right. So let's get into this Kick Black. So, I think I'll talk a little bit about thoughts on the day. Today was hip hop, so kind of just general thoughts, any session that jumped out to you, and with any piece of the day. Hopefully, everybody got their boxes. If not, they're on the way. But yeah, we'll just start with Leon. It's kind of like general impressions of day 2 of Virtually Black.
Honestly, today was cool. Like having Ninth Wonder come in and drop some like just knowledge and wisdom about like what hip hop was when he was growing up and everything, and what he learned, even what he learned through hip hop outside of school. So like it was cool, and it kind of set the tone for like the vibe of today. So like I had a good time.
Yeah, Ninth was he was real laid back and was like and real.
Yeah,
I gotta go back and listen to his music now, especially the new album that he was on with Dr. Mark Anthony Neal at Duke. Yeah, it was a good time. Alondra, how about you?
It's very interesting to learn about hip hop because I wasn't born or raised in the United States. So my experience with hip hop is very different. I was born and raised in Mexico. So hearing about it today and seeing, the rich history that it has been very interesting. And I think I've learned to have appreciation for it that not that I didn't have prior to, but that I didn't really know about before.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna circle back to that in a second. But D-Will, how about your general thoughts of today, from your perspective?
To kind of piggyback off Alondra, like even though I've kind of been interested in hip hop culture for longer, it's still one thing that I like learned from this is that there's still like it feels like it's infinite amount of like perspectives when it comes to the hip hop culture, and there's all of these different types because there's all these different types of like genres and facets to hip hop culture, just even past the music. It's like it feels like it's just like never ending. It's like a whole universe, and that it's just beautiful, really.
So I'm curious. So would anybody here say they like probably not, but a hip hop head, like a real like Alonzo? You're like, no, I didn't really have like that. Wasn't a thing. Dylan, you're like, I knew of it. So Leon, are you the hip hop head? More
No,
of it?
I'm all R&B, baby. I'm all.
You're an R&B man. So
I'm still listening to Luther sometimes. So that's the type of person I am.
oh, so you like? Are you neo soul?
Oh, just a little bit. I'm still listening to the old stuff. So
You're more like classic R&B. Okay.
oh yes, sir.
All right. So what exactly? So getting to know like what has been the big thing about learning about hip hop like in particular that has either been like illuminated or you're like, oh, I just didn't know that in general. Like, is there anything anybody can jump off on this point? Or there's something else like
I'll take the first one. So one of the sessions that they had was, Trapology 101. And, whenever someone would think of trap music, you would just think like it just, dumbed down hood type music. Like they talk about trapping, trapping out the bando, all of this other like wild type stuff. And like, yeah, that is what of course that is what they're talking about in their music, whether like they do it or they used to do it. But one thing and I was talking about these like infinite amount of perspectives, I did not think like just how much of a meaning trap can have because of when you think of somebody that listens to trap music, you usually don't think of them like someone like one of us to where like we're we can have like these opinions and whatnot. You can articulate and everything. And I feel like that's like part of the stereotype and obviously a negative one. And I feel like I didn't even like think about it prior, but it's really like trap is really more intricate than one would ever think.
Definitely. I think there was a lecture a couple weeks ago. Dominic Lester, who was on our panel, and Steve Nunez, who's attending the conference, and they were talking about trap as sort of being in line in tradition with like the blues. So it tells a story of folks, some in like an impoverished situation, thinking kind of about their struggles. So that was something that for me was like, oh, there's like a connection point. And you do think of trap, like you don't think of Migos as being like in the tradition of the blues, but like when you look at what they're talking about or future, there definitely is that kind of connective tissue in that regard.
And like when it comes to trap, like the only time I listen to trap is like when I'm working out or if I'm out somewhere having a good time. Like that's the only time I'm listening to trap. A good time. But especially when you talk about how trap does tell a particular story, it's so crazy to me. Now I didn't go to the session, which I'm kind of like, maybe I should have went to that session.
Yeah, no, it was very interesting. Let me tell you now, it was like.
But like one of the things when it comes to like me and hip hop, I feel like I'm still, because not only I'm still kind of with like old R&B, but like I would prefer more older hip hop because of, I guess, the type of storytelling. Like I don't want to hear trapping out the bando, all that stuff, unless I'm, like I said, working out in a different state of mind. But I want to actually hear like a story of sustenance. Okay, so what was your struggle? What did you have to go through? Tell me your life story. Like that's the type of music that I like and everything. Now I respect it, but would I just openly like listening to trap just in general? No.
You're not gonna just throw on some Future. You're not just gonna throw on some Life is Good.
Future just toxic, man. I'm a good guy. I'm a nice guy. I can't do it.
I mean, you could be a nice guy, but
is.
First fight she
Chicken
bumps,
wings.
you know.
Chicken wings and fries. We don't go on dates. Who? What kind of person?
You remember that line though.
Leon, let me tell you now, like, you know, it's toxic, yeah, but like, don't act like it don't slap. Like, you bump that in the car, it's gonna bump.
No, when I'm working out or when I'm at a party, like, oh yeah, like, you know, it's nice and everything, but I
You
don't
tell
like.
me a chicken wing like when you bumping, like when you lit, like when you there, you're not like, hey, no. No.
Actually, I am, but that's a different story. That's a different story.
Well, you know, I think
Thank you for keeping it real, though.
yeah, I think for me, trap music, especially nowadays, is very interesting to listen to from a woman's perspective, especially when it's a woman, you know, singing trap music, because I think women have now reclaimed this idea of sexuality that has never really been done before. I don't think I know it has been done before, but I think it was very frowned upon in the past. But now people are actually like, a lot more people are enjoying this music and are more open to it than they were in the past. So whenever you hear, you know, women singing these things, now it's just like you actually bump to it. It's not so much as like, oh my God, she's saying these things. Like it's not as frowned upon as much now as it feel it could happen in the past. Granted, I come from an outside perspective, so I don't really know too much, but that has always been my point of view in that regard.
Yeah,
Women rappers at best right now. The women rappers are the best out right now, hands down.
Thanks. Yeah, let me add this too, because this was a really like interesting takeaway that I had from this. So Leon, Nanny, y'all might remember when Morgan DeBond was keynote speaker yesterday, she had talked about labels and you know how she doesn't like to, you know, conform to like a specific label. Trap in a way has also dealt with like a negative label because they were talking like the speakers, Sean Palmer, Reverend Dominique, like all of these people, they were talking about how, you know, some of the reasons why, like some of the situations that know, like where, you know, why they were, you know, why they were trapping essentially was because like they literally had to in a degree. Because they, you know, keep in mind, like these are still people, like so they people that you know they got to support themselves, or they have kids that they got to support, and sometimes just because the music may be full of like misogyny or all of these negative labels, that no, like that's really not how it is all the time. And there are some cases where you know even like just in the community, sometimes like they're more serious about education than one would ever think. Like there's some where they were literally like encouraged, like, no, like we're not gonna like have you in this mess. You gonna be the one to go to school. You're gonna be the one to make it out, type stuff. And that's what really like opened my mind because usually like you would never think that when it comes to like trappers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's a really. Oh, sorry.
No, Alondra, you go first. You good.
I think it's a really interesting perspective that you bring out, Dylan, because thinking of trap music, hip hop, you know, all of these genres out here. I think of my experience coming into the United States. I learned English to learning how to listen to this music. Trap music and hip hop in general have a really big range of, you know, word usage and just a really big vocabulary that people don't realize. So when you listen to this music and you learn it, you understand what these words are. And for someone who's a second, you know, English is my second language, this is how I learned to speak English, through music. And a lot of the music that I listened to was trap music, hip hop music, a lot of the music that was, you know, being produced and performed by Black artists.
And you get to learn all the ebonics and everything. Look.
No.
I'm just saying there needs to be an ebonics class. But
oh, go ahead.
Oh well, my thing is like Ninth Wonder and I'm pulling up my notes. I feel like I got to look at my notes, but Ninth Wonder and Dr. Neil, when they had talked about like, especially like our generation, and when I say our generation, I'm talking about Gen Z, and I'm Alondra, I don't know when you were born, but I was born in '96, and '96 was like the start of Gen Z. And
Yeah.
I sometimes want to be that millennial, but that's a long story.
You're
But
the millennial.
yes, I'm the zillennial. But pretty much our generation is a lot more aware, and especially we are aware of, you know, the struggle that hip hop had portrayed, you know, going through history and everything. But also, we are also the generation that points out, like, hey, you know, we're not talking about this stuff anymore. Like, we have I feel like we have the opportunity to change the narrative. The only issue is sometimes changing the narrative doesn't sell. Like, everybody wants to hear the, you know, trapping, the toxicity stuff, the blase, like the misogynistic stuff. Like, my thing is, that's why I'm not a big trap person consistently. I can't really, like, it does tell a story, but I just feel like if we really wanted, because hip hop are like, first off, hip hop, a lot of things came from hip hop, and a lot of those things that came from hip hop had pretty much became trendsetters. Like, hip hop started the trend. Our culture is like pop culture. Hip hop culture is pop culture in general, and we can all agree to that. But the thing is that negativity, some people, which, talking about myself, some people, I'm kind of like done with the trap. I want to actually hear something essence. So I listen to like Chica. If you listen to Chicology, I don't care what anybody say, her stuff is nice. Okay. And she got essence. She does. I still remember when Rick Ross would, you know, rap. Now I love Rick Ross. He can rap and everything. But the thing, he'd be talking about hustling and what he had to do and stuff. My man was a correctional officer. Like, he wasn't telling his story. He was telling somebody else's story. And I feel like a lot of rappers now telling somebody else's story. They not really about that life. I know I'm not about that life. So why would I want to hear about that life in the first place? Just saying.
I think you bring up an interesting point about the kind of image of the rapper now. So, and I also wondering who is the person putting out this music? Who are the people that are deciding that this song is gonna be put out? If the record labels are mainly white, old, like mostly old white men. So they're kind of this conceptualization of a rapper as the drug dealing, cool, person, dude. That's kind of the image that is sold, and that's the image that's manufactured. So people definitely, like, they will tailor you to that image. I think there is a point of folks like, this is real for certain folks, but for certain folks it's like, well, this is the image that I have to fit into, and this is the image that sells. So I definitely think you bring up a good point. I do want to move forward. I love this conversation though. I do want to move a little bit forward, and we had a couple of meditation and wellness exercises and activities today. There was a coloring meditation, and then there was a trap yoga. I'm not sure if you all were able to go to those, but what I really want to ask is you can talk about that if you'd like. What are kind of your wellness practices? Because in order we talk about advancing Afro futures, in order to have an Afro future or any future, you need to be able to be there, and like wellness is a key part of that. So, what are your like wellness practices? And being real, do you think you do wellness enough? Or are you like me and you're like, wellness, who is she? What is that? Is that a thing that I need to be doing? I didn't mean to, I'm being real. Like, I just outed myself, like, out here on front of the world. But
you can ask my cohort. Sometimes I don't know who wellness is sometimes.
I don't, but I see them passing
Who's
by.
that?
Okay, now wait, it can't be all of us. Like, I'm already here. Y'all gotta learn from my mistakes. Don't shake your head. Come on, y'all.
Manny, like, okay, so Alondra and Leon don't really know because, I mean, of course, they don't know me. We don't go to the same school. Manny, you see me. I'll be going through it sometimes.
You do be done. You do be done.
We all do.
Yeah. As far as like my wellness practice, I feel like my best one would be just simple isolation. There are times where I just, and y'all may agree with me, y'all may not. There's just times where you just need to be by yourself. Because, like, I love being social. Like I love the fact that I got these friends where I could just I could hit them up at a moment's notice, and then I could be doing Lord knows what at that point. But because you know, especially now with it being my senior year, like I'm just running around trying to do so much. I got so much on my plate right now. It just gets to where I just want to rip my hair out. That even though I don't have hair like that, and sometimes I just want to be in here. Like I literally, like yesterday I talked about, I got the man cave, and y'all see the jerseys over here. Like I got like the way I got the decorated, like it's like a man cave. So this is like my personal man cave to where if I just need to escape, like I'm here. And sometimes I could just need a day or just like an afternoon to just like cool off. Maybe because I'm 21, so I can do this. Like I just get some wine, like just sip it, and I'll just be good from there.
You fancy? You need to sip a little wine.
Like I kid you not, I kid you
Out
not.
here with the wine
No,
and
no, 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 no,
everything.
no. Hear me out. Hear me out.
I'm trying to get
No, check it out. I never sound bougie, but like just I kid you not. A few weeks ago, like I essentially had a free crib. Like my roommate wasn't here, and well, I have two roommates. One wasn't here, and then the other it just stays in his room because he's like a gamer. So I took the time. I got one of my bathrobes. I had some wine. Like I had the glass and everything. Like I was just pouring it up. I ain't have no homework, by the way. So
Did you
like
play some Erica Badu? Have
Right.
some incense burning. Like
I do.
In a bathroom.
Okay. I
the
wish.
candles burning
By
up
the
and
instance,
everything.
Right.
man, nah, see, I'm on an on-campus apartment, so if I do that, the fire alarm gonna go off. I can't do all of that. I wish, but I can't. But nah, like I got my own like R&B, like late night playlist and everything. Like when I relax, like I'm gonna do it big.
See, I think like with wellness, now I could definitely do a better job, but I would say this semester I've been doing better than I did last year. Um, this semester, especially like has been the most consistent, especially when it comes to like going to the gym. Working out sometimes like helps me get my aggression out and everything. Um, and so that wellness, it's kind of like doing something for me where I'm kind of like get my blood pumping and getting to like get that frustration out a little bit. And another thing that's also been helpful is like my cohort. Shout out to UWG, CSA. We almost done, y'all. We graduating in May. We almost done. But what's it called? Also, my cohort kind of helps me get a sense of wellness whenever we're like studying together, or just even like talking about our struggles or what we want within our career, or what we plan to do afterwards, especially after we graduate. And so like there are some times of wellness that like are really good for me. I also have my girlfriend, honestly, she's a health freak. Like, thanks to her, I lost good much a pound. Like, I lost a lot of weight thanks to her. I'm eating cauliflower rice and grilled chicken, and I was like, what brother do you know eat cauliflower rice? Like,
Dylan out here with the wine. Leon out here eating.
I'm about to say, y'all was talking about me being bougie.
What kind? What are y'all?
Hey man, like sometimes you gotta live.
I'm gonna need to get on y'all's diet.
Right.
oh, wait, Paul, but I'm still a big boy now. Hey, big boys rule the world, okay? But like, honestly, like wellness is a whole process for me. And so like I'm hoping that I get into the mix now before I get that like full-time career. So I won't be too stressed. But I gotta admit I can do better when it comes to wellness and doing better for myself.
I think I have to agree with you when Manny said, wellness, who is she? I felt that very deep in my soul. But I think shout out to Tislam Swift, my co-grad assistant from last year at the Black Culture Center, for putting me on to one of the best Black counselors I have ever been to. Counseling for me has been eye-opening. I never thought that I needed it because I'm the type of person who just kind of runs with things and thinks that, I can get through it all. I grew up in a very machista culture that, where counseling really isn't a thing. You pray for things and you hope God makes everything better. But I am a big believer in God, but I believe that God can only take you so far. You also have to do things for yourself. And one of those things for me has been counseling. Unfortunately, with COVID, my counseling sessions kind of disappeared because, our counseling center at my university kind of shut down for a little bit and things are kind of opening back up. But with COVID going on right now, things are they're not running as smoothly as they were before. But shout out to my roommate for being a big health freak. She is the one who encourages me every morning to go to the gym at 6 a.m. and pushes me, to lift weights and run and do all these things that I usually wouldn't. And I also have 2 dogs. One of the dogs is my roommate's and then the other one is mine. But I think having an animal for me has been such a big stress reliever because just seeing how peaceful he is just makes me wish that I were as peaceful as he is. But yeah, and I think another big thing, shout out to the biggest support system that I have, which is the Black Culture Center. Everyone there looks out for me. I have Mr. Tim, our facilities coordinator, texting me, making sure that I'm doing good in my career. Every time that I need something, that I want to get into a company, he's always got a connection going on. Shout out to Glow for always telling me, for teaching me how to say no. She has this really cool thing going on right now that is the no committee. So every time she wants to take on something, she texts her committee, whether she should take it on or not. And they tell her no. And I needed that. So I started one up with my friends. Every time I want to take on something, they're like, no, you don't need it. Shout out to Miss Nancy, Miss Enger for always taking care of me every time I have gone hungry so many times and I show up to the center and they're like, you haven't eaten, huh? And I'm like, no, I haven't. They're like, come on, sit down. Sometimes it's just about eating. Sometimes it's just about getting some rest. Sometimes it really is just about saying no. Those little things go such a long way. And I couldn't, thank my support system enough for that and for much, much more that I can't even put into words.
Alondra, you're a good person because the only running I do is run my mouth and run late to things. That's it.
Well, I don't do much running, and it takes me a very long time to actually get to it. I haven't done it in a while, but my roommate tries.
You better go, girl.
So it's funny you mentioned eating. So I have a really bad habit of not eating so I played like rec ball from 6 to 18, and then before every game I wouldn't eat. I'm just too excited. I think I've carried that over into how I program. So whenever we have a big program, I'm like, oh, we just gotta get into it. Just gotta get into it. I don't think about eating. And so I knew when this conference was coming up, I was like, man, if you don't actually make a plan to make sure you eat, you won't eat for 2 weeks, or you'll eat really, really late. And so I made this post on Facebook and Instagram, and then I was like, hey y'all, just check in, expecting just 1 or 2 people. That day, someone texted me, hey, what you eat for lunch? I've been getting texts daily, been like, hey, what you eat for lunch? Hey, what you eat for breakfast? You eat dinner yet? Oh, you ain't eat? That's not enough food. What you gonna eat afterwards? So I definitely think that support system is super, super helpful. For me, the staff member, having Zooms with my friends, like weekly Zooms, have been super helpful for just kind of decompressing. And I have a question because I realize I know everybody's director on here pretty well. Obviously, I know Dylan, Sean, I know Glow, and I know Deidre. So what is the one? How messy do I want to be? What is the one quirk that you're like, that is Sean Palmer, that is Gloria Howell, that is Deidre Ralph? What is it? Is there like a look and you're like, oh, is there like a saying? Is there what is the one unique quirk about your director? And yes, I'm asking this now because I want y'all's perspective, because then they're just gonna be like, Manny, why'd you asking the questions? But Glow's like my sister, Deidre's like my aunt, Sean's like my brother, so it can be fine.
Miss Deidre, she the aunt. How you doing? she's the favorite church lady that comes in the pew, be like, "Oh baby, how you doing and everything? You know, how's your mama and them and all that." You have a conversation, and she's like invested. That's Miss Deidre. Like that is her. When I hear the "How you doing this morning?" Oh hey Leon, did you get the email that I sent you? And like Miss Deidre always gonna check on you. I promise you that much. So that's her.
For sure. I can know that because she's been texting me during the conference here, like, "You good? You good, buddy?" I'm like, "I appreciate you."
For me, Glow. Oh, sorry. Glow is Gloria Howell's superstar. Miss Gloria Howell will do everything and anything to go the extra mile. Miss Glow is extra. She always goes above and beyond, and I mean for absolutely everything. I don't think there's anything that Glow ever leaves half done. She's, like I said, she's truly is a superstar, always going above and beyond for absolutely everything. But I think always checking in on us too. She's always like, her saying whenever she comes into the office, and I know Glow is in the office when I hear this, is, "Well, hello." That is Glow. As soon as I hear the "well, hello," that is Glow right there. Always checking in, popping into everyone's office, talking in for us for a few seconds, but then she's work mode. As soon as she gets into the office and she sits down on that chair, is work mode.
So you know her. I can't relate to knowing as soon as your boss walks into the room. Like I can't relate to having a big personality that you instantly know as soon as he walks into the room. Sean Palmer. I just can't think of anybody who's like that. Dylan, can you think of anybody who's like that?
No, I don't know. That's not Sean Palmer to me. That sounds like somebody else. No, on a serious note, with Dr. Sean Palmer, I feel like the thing that like sets him apart is that he's going to get the best out of you. Like no matter what you're doing or like what you're involved in, like he's going if you're working with him, he's going to try to get the best out of you. And I got a little bit of a story. I'm about to embarrass myself a little bit. So last show, I was talking about how I was doing they had me doing like fashion shows and everything, right? So the first one I did freshman year, I was like when we first started having practices, I was terribly like stiff, like all of this other stuff. Like I couldn't do a damn thing right. Sorry for the language, by the way. But
but for y'all, and I love Dylan, and that's why I can say this with Dylan. It was we had to get him to swing his arms, but like I can't. I wish we had video just to show his improvement because Dylan.
I'm telling you,
right? It was like
even to this day.
It was just, but no, but
yeah. On my head.
Dylan, are you the one on the cover of that magazine?
No, wait. Am I?
Hang on.
Put me on something?
I got to see. What have we put you on? Have we put you on anything?
Oh, not that you're famous and don't even know.
Hold on.
You're on
the magazine that you brought last year.
So Dylan, are you in the magazine?
I don't know if he's a cover or if in one of the pages.
You might be in
one of the pages. I'm not on the cover.
Look, dang it! I don't have the receipt.
I don't have my. I'll have to find. You might be on one of the pages, Dylan. I know you are. I know.
I might be on one of the pages. I'm not on the cover.
So Black. You might be in Black Boy Joy, because they had a page. and you were in that.
Yeah. I was because I was definitely at the photo shoot for that. So
well, you look like an natural on the picture.
Oh, Dylan got the freshest of clothes. Like Dylan got. That's the thing. We were like, no, you're gonna learn how to walk.
The problem is not the clothes. The problem is the walk.
The problem.
Wait, Manny, are you saying you bullied this boy on the? You bullied this boy on the walkway?
No.
I did nothing. What Sean
Palmer?
I'm
saying Sean did it. Sean did this. Sean Palmer did it. So
I don't get fired.
So make sure we got this recorded, Sean. You better not hurt this boy. He got a future.
I mean,
Woke.
nah, but okay, but nah, but it wasn't even like what I'm talking about now, like because we have choreography in our shows too. Like we have like whole like routines and stuff. So there's this one routine where we like segueing into another like into this whole scene where we supposed to like have this routine with chairs. Like we have rolling chairs, we have the whole routine with that, like me and two other guys. And I was the one in the middle. And when I tell you, well, no, I was the one in the front, actually. They had me in the front, despite me being rigid as hell.
Dylan has to, because Dylan has like the best clothes. We're like, okay, we're gonna put you out in the front, but that means he has to start everything, and like it's his count. So he's not the ace of the line, but like no, but he's gotta have the counts, right? And so that took a little bit of time. It looked amazing in the show, and you could appreciate it after the hours that it took.
Yeah, no. I'm telling you, there was one time we were practicing, and like I was getting all the counts wrong. And keep in mind, Sean Palmer, you know, very, very nice man, very eccentric, very like bright personality. This is the first time I ever heard him curse. I was getting it wrong. He just turned to me and snapped at me. He was like, "On beat, nigga," and like in front of everybody. Like I see everybody off to the side, like just looking so shocked. Like I'm looking like they ain't never like I just committed a sin or something. And then like I see that I just get like this. I'm like, what did I just do? I don't broke this man. Everything like I'm just.
There, he actually remember that was fine. He apologized. He was like, "I'm sorry, that wasn't. I didn't. It just happened." But I will say like Dylan. Like now we're like, oh no, Dylan, you're gonna be in the fashion show. So you got one more fashion show for us, Dylan. One more, whether it's virtual or whatever. But
you're a veteran now.
I say, yeah. At this point, I'm just
now you just gotta come out here and do your thing.
I mean, no, like I'm better now. Like last year I didn't have a problem. But
no.
But yeah, no, I guess I'm a mainstay now. Like this is just what I do.
and if you don't, Sean gonna be like, boy.
Yeah, no, he pretty much had to get people to peer pressure me to do the last one. Because at that point, I was just like, you know, like I was at the practice. I'm like, they really don't got me to do this shit again.
That's funny.
So one more, like 1.5 more questions. I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time. I love the discussion we've been having. So we all been to like different sessions. Was there anything today that prompted a question, like something you were interested in knowing more about, or sparked interest, or anything that maybe answered or affirmed something that you've struggled with personally?
I want to say, because currently I feel like I've been struggling mentally, because one of the things is whenever we're throwing some of these virtual events, it's sometimes hard to get numbers. And so like one of the main reasons, like both breakout sessions pretty much talked about how to support Black students during COVID-19 and racism pandemic, or also virtual programming to combat the COVID-19 or the racism pandemic. So like my goal was to go in, learn what opportunities and what events could we have to encourage more students to get involved with us. And one of the things is that they've like some of the events, we have similar events, we have similar courses. Like our it's pretty much like a university 101 class that a lot of institutions already run. We do have that here at West Georgia. And so like it kind of goes back to what Alondra said earlier, like, you know, everybody's pretty much doing the same thing. And we also kind of have an idea. Some people are having similar struggles, which makes me feel good. And it makes me feel as though like if I need some guidance or if I need help, the emails that I've gotten today. So when we talk to the University of Connecticut, or when we talk to University of Indiana, what's it called? I can email somebody and say, okay, how did this event go? And we are trying to have a similar event. And I'm asking how to properly run it and everything. So honestly, it kind of helped me realize like, hey, you know, we are going through a pandemic and I'm not alone during this time. I'm gonna just have to like learn how to get these students to these events to help support them and everything, because, you know, virtual, a lot of people are kind of burnt out through Zoom or any other stuff. So it honestly just kind of gave me a peace of mind to look, as long as you're trying, nobody can fault you.
Yeah, I do want to, I think, like you said, like a lot of the people are going for virtual programs, and something that we want to try to do even more is possibly, even because it's virtual, it in some way it makes it easier to be like, hey, West Georgia, let's partner with Indiana. We couldn't normally just do that, but let's be like, hey, we're doing this thing on this day, or we're doing this program. You want to partner up for this? So I definitely think that even after this pandemic, even whatever normal looks like, I definitely think that we want to keep in these connections, being like, well, let's do this virtual and then partner with this university, so that not only can we pool resources and get folks together, but also other students can see the work that cultural centers and offices of diversity and inclusion are doing, so they know. So I think often people kind of fall into the field, but they know, oh no, this is actually a viable like option, and this is the resources that they provide. So I'm glad you kind of got that peace of mind.
I love that you bring that up, because just recently for Hispanic Heritage Month, our Latino Culture Center here at Indiana University got together with University of Illinois and Purdue University here in Indiana, and they did an amazing event with an Afro-Latina author, Elizabeth Acevedo. You know, they brought in this big author who's really big right now among the Latino and the Afro-Latino community. And they brought her in and were able to provide this experience for all of their students. So I can only hope that, you know, this is something that we can also do with the Black Culture Centers. It's amazing the things that you can do virtually. It's like, while you may not be able to do it all by yourself, having these connections and knowing that I can, you know, just text Manny and be like, hey, Manny, y'all got anything going on this day? We're thinking about doing this. Would you like to partner up? Knowing that you can easily do that, and that both your students and our students can enjoy this event, it's like amazing, and something that hasn't really been done before prior to COVID. Not that it hasn't been done before, but it was much more difficult to get something like that together.
Agreed. I'm only mad that you mentioned that, Elizabeth, because I wanted to go to that event and then they were full. And so I went to a couple other events that Purdue had, but that's the one I wanted, because I was like, I've already heard
it was
about it.
so good.
Why are you making it worse?
I'm sorry. I have to put in a plug for her because she's my sorority sister. So, you know, it's just like every time that I see anything of her, I just like fangirl over it. But it was such a great event, and it was beautiful.
Gosh. Well, no, for real, I'm glad. She's definitely, I think we might be reading her book. My partner with the English department in the spring to be reading The Poet X. So
that is so cool.
Yeah,
keep us posted on how it goes. We're also doing a book club. We have a lot of amazing good books that we gave out with our Black Facts, and we're hoping to do a book club come the spring. So one of the books that I'm reading right now is Hood Feminism. Haven't actually started, but we'll be starting it soon. I've heard a lot of really great things about it, and we're hoping to, you know, have these conversations and start these dialogues with our students because it's our new reality, at least for this year. We'll see, you know, what the future holds for us.
That's dope. That's dope.
But keep us posted.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And all these institutions doing great things. Like, I'm just like, oh, we in the midst of greatness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, like pretty much like I said, like of course this is, you know, the means in which we found out that we can, you know, that we are doing this networking is, don't even get me started on that. But just the fact that, you know, we have been able to connect with each other. Like we all, like I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina, you know, Leon's in West Georgia, Alondra's in Indiana, and yeah, we're all here just like, we're all just, you know, kicking it like we didn't even know each other until like this weekend. At least the two of us. Like me and Manny, I already knew him, and like it doesn't like when you think about it, like that's really wild. Like we're all up, like we're in different parts of the country, and we're just here like networking, like all of us, and you know, of course, it sucks that we couldn't do this in person, but
I would have loved this in person.
yeah, no, this would have been amazing in person. But just the fact that we still got to do this, we still managed to kind of, work our way around this is still honestly amazing to me.
So yeah, so every year I've gone to ABCC, I've like linked up with somebody and they became my crew for like that weekend. So like the first year I went, I was in Rutgers, linked up with Ivante at LSU, and then last year, gosh, it didn't seem like last year. It seems like 2 years ago. But last year, Sean knew Monica Johnson, who was the former director of the Neil Marshall. And Monica now, she moved up. Like what's Monica doing now, Alondra?
Monica is now working with diversity and inclusion efforts here at Indiana University. She's one of the vice presidents. I can't remember her exact title, but she's doing amazing work with an amazing group of students from all walks of life. And her work is being, displayed all throughout campus and is being utilized in different platforms and perspectives. And we are so proud to have had her in our center, but we know that she's doing amazing work elsewhere. But even then, she still hasn't left us. She's always in our hearts and always there for us throughout every step of the way.
Right. Yeah. Shout out to Monica. So Sean and Monica knew each other and they were like, oh yeah, this is my staff. This is my staff. And then literally me and my coworker Tom Tiffany Campbell is like us, Indiana, just like us. Like that was a, I say that another time, but that was a good time. That was a good time. And so I was all ready for everybody to come down. It's cool. We gonna maybe if we are a little more freer next year, they'll be like, well, let's let UNCW do an actual conference. I'll be like, okay, yes, let's do it.
Let's get it.
and then I don't want to do any more conferences for the rest of my life. That'd be enough. But yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought really fast. But we're gonna hop back on the train. So last thing, a little bit longer, but again, I love the conversation. A little bit, last question. So tomorrow is Halloween, and we've encouraged everyone to dress up as a character cosplay of some type. So I'm not saying you don't give it away, but what are you like thinking you might be coming as? Possibly. And I don't want like a jersey and be like, I'm a basketball player.
No. Okay. I might not do that, but Manny, I'm gonna keep it real. Like, I have barely thought about Halloween. Like, I haven't thought like no costume, no spooky anything, just vibes.
No spooky anything, just vibes.
I felt that.
No, that's actually like, are you a spooky Halloween? No, nothing spooky, just vibes.
Just the vibe.
Yeah. Well, Dylan, I think you could. Oh yeah. Well, all right, Dylan. The only way I will let you wear jerseys is if you get a Russell Westbrook jersey. That is the only
I've
way.
been wanting to get one, but not like an OKC jersey. Like I've seen like a Russell Westbrook like Seattle Supersonics jersey. And like, yeah, like for the life of like I really want that in my collection, but I just have not been able to find one yet.
Okay, that's the only way I'll let you because you already look kind of like him. That's the only way I'll let you do it. Leon, what do you?
Wow.
I'm just saying like because
I'm gonna get past that, man.
I'm gonna see you, so I'm gonna be like, Dylan, why you? I'm gonna be like, hey, you gonna be at the landing, at the crossing?
In all honesty, what's it called? I actually just told my girlfriend this. Like growing up, I used to be always the Dollar General monster. Like I would find a mask in the dollar store. If there were gloves that went with the mask,
wait, Dollar General monster.
Yeah, so just anything. So pretty much whatever you find at Dollar General, you just make it shake. Halloween ain't expensive, and then you get a lot more candy. So you spent $5 on your Halloween costume to get all this candy. See, people usually go all the way out for Halloween. No, there is no need. There was one.
Okay, but here's the thing: if you could make this work. You got like an M'Baku look about you a little bit because you got like the beard. I think you can make an M'Baku work.
See, I was thinking about Luke Cage, but M'Baku wouldn't be bad.
Okay, you can do a Cage. You can do Luke Cage. I was like, it's challenge day. Like you can rock that.
But I'm just letting you know. See, M'Baku shows a lot of skin, and I got to do more push-ups on that. So
it's gonna be like you wear the top. You ain't got to show all the skin. Just wear the top, like the top, or just the head. Just the head. That's what it is.
Just like that.
How about you? What do you? What would you dress as? Who would you dress as?
Oh, I really have been vibing with Lovecraft Country. It's been my thing lately. I love anything spooky. I love, true crime. I'm a big, big fan of any of that. So my favorite holiday has been Halloween since I've known any Halloween anything. However, Lovecraft Country is one of those things that you kind of have to have not just the costume or like the items to piece together, but also the vibes. And I just don't know if I have it or the costume, to be honest. So although that's what I'm envisioning, I don't know if that's, what my vision is truly going to come to life.
So I love Lovecraft Country. That is my show.
So good.
Me and Sean watch that. Like, it's like, and then when you go back and look at all the references, and then
mind blowing.
I'm just Dylan, you need to get on this so that you get Lovecraft Country. It just ended, so I'm not going. No spoilers.
It's fire.
It is
so good.
Flames.
It's like that for
so
real.
Good.
Yes.
For real.
Yes.
Just prepare yourself because there are certain scenes. You might not look at barbecue chicken the same way. I'm just saying.
But can I say something? No,
Okay, that's a little bit of a problem because my dad, he barbecues a lot, and he loves to barbecue some chicken now.
No, it doesn't affect me. I'm saying that for some people, there are certain things in the series that may dissuade you. It may remind you of certain things that you don't want to be reminded of. That's all.
I will tell you. Number one, everything has been for the culture, and it's great seeing representation in the horror movies. Right. But one of the things that I used to love about horror movies, there were barely any black people in horror movies, so I wouldn't have to worry about like dying in those like ways. Now we got like a lot of black horrors, bro. Now it's messing me up because I could tell you the main people who stayed alive at the end of the movie, it was definitely not the jocks, it was definitely not the pretty boys, and most likely these movies didn't have black folk, so the black folk wasn't gonna die. So I was just like, oh, I don't have to. I'm going to be safe because I don't believe in that.
Like we just the bystander.
See, we ain't got time for it. But now after Lovecraft Country came out and everything, I was like,
never trust.
They really went there. They really did that.
So much. I'm just like, what? And I don't want this to turn into a separate Lovecraft Country like side podcast show. But yeah, watch Lovecraft Country. Someone said I should dress as Tick. Like I need like they said that I could do Tick, which I could consider. The only issue is it's taken me 26 years to grow this much facial hair, and I don't know what's gonna happen if I just take it off. Like
it ain't ever coming back.
So
it'll come back.
It's not gonna come back, fool.
See?
I'm gonna say, that's a dead mission.
Yeah. So I don't know. I have to see. I'm thinking about maybe race bending Doctor Strange, just like because I kind of got that Doctor Strange like that weird mustache and beard he's got. So like I might try to rock that, but I don't know. We'll see.
If you want to go easy, be Luke Cage. Just put your hood over your head and everything, and just look buff in a hoodie.
Just look buff in a hoodie. Okay.
Yeah.
Just
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
Maybe you want to like put like bullet holes in a like old hoodie.
Gotcha.
Look, you got Luke Cage, easy money.
Yeah.
Cheap. We saving money for Halloween.
Facts. Big facts. All right. This has been the Kick Black. Thank you all so much for hopping on. We got one more tomorrow, and then it's over. Dang, that's sad. Makes me sad.
How
but
do
I love.
Say goodbye.
But I love the camaraderie. I hope we continue it. I don't know, y'all can have a little separate Cultural Center Kid group chat if y'all want. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, that's an idea. Just throw an idea out there. But yeah, this has been the Kick Black. It's been Manny Lloyd, Dylan Williams, Alondra Galvin, Leon Humphrey Jr. And we will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Everybody say peace.
Peace.
Bye.